Hi, my name is Billy McBride, and I'm going to be practicing my first eidetic imaging alone for now. And I've come up with a kind of technique of how I'm going to start this off to get my first initial images. It's kind of a creative technique, so here it goes. I'm going to use this book, The Paradiso by Dante. I'm just going to open up the book at random, pick the first phrase that I can find, which is, if now my words are not obscure, and it's so on, and it goes on. If now my words are not obscure. So what I'm going to do is take that word words and write it down, words, and then I'm going to take that word obscure and write it down, obscure. And now what I'm going to do is take the word words and remember in my mind where words pops up in poetry. And so I think of Hamlet when he says words, 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 when Polonius asks him what he's reading. So I'm just going to put reading, R-E-A-D-I-N-G. And then this other word, obscure. I remember a poem, Obscurest Night Involved, and then that's how it starts, night, and that's by William Cooper. So from words and obscure I got reading and night. So I'm just going to put night, N-I-G-H-T, reading, R-E-A-D-I-N-G, just like this. I don't know if you can see that. All right. So as many people know, I have my angels and they help me out. So I'm going to eidetic image these angels, but we're going to go according to a kind of plan. So to pick my angels, I'm going to use the first letter of each word. And since none of my angels start with the letter N, I'm just going to go with Penelope because there's an N in her name. So Penelope, I'm going to write her name down, Penelope. And then for R for reading, Arielle can be chosen for that, Arielle. And Penelope is nice because she represents the color black, and night's usually black. So, and Arielle represents charity, but we're just using these two names to start off with. So Penelope and Arielle are going to be my two angels, which one at a time I'm going to eidetic image and see how this goes. And the structure which I'm going to eidetic image is me picturing myself at night reading a book, say like this book, Dante's Paradiso. So here goes. And the first angel will be Penelope, but what I'm going to do is picture myself reading Dante's Inferno without, Paradiso without her, and then bring her into the picture. At the same time, I'm going to be giving my bodily responses. So I'm going to imagine myself now, after taking a deep breath, and so here I am, I'm reading Dante's Paradiso, and my hand is flipping the page very slowly. And as I'm doing this, I feel a pressure on the sides of my legs and underneath them. And I can feel my back pressed up against my chair. I'm in a recliner, so. And then I'm reading, I'm looking over the words, just kind of like in a peaceful way, so my mind's kind of at rest, looking and reading these words of Dante's. And so as I'm doing this, I feel kind of like my mouth's kind of dry. I also feel the book in my hands kind of sticky because the page, not the pages, but the cover is a glossy cover, so my hands kind of stick to the book this way. And now I'm reading, and I'm looking at the color of the page, which is kind of a cream color, and a little tiny font of the words, and it makes my eyelids blink a little bit. And I'm also thinking of it being nighttime, and at night I can hear the crickets out there in the outside area, and also I feel kind of sleepy but restful, not too sleepy but alert, I should say. Now my angel Penelope is going to enter this picture, and as she's entering the picture, I'm seeing her in my mind's eye, and she is right in front of me, about 1 foot or so in front of me, and she's putting her hands behind her crossed. So like, you know how like when you get arrested by a police officer and they have to put your hands behind your back so they could put the cuffs on you. So she's doing this, except she's not going to be arrested. And I feel kind of like smiley in the face because she's doing this, but her face is kind of half serious and half smiling at the same time. And as she's smiling, I feel my toes kind of like wiggle a little bit, and so she's going back and forth, coming closer to me and going farther away from me, kind of rocking. And as she's doing this, it makes me kind of want to rock with her, with my head. She's got this very gorgeous, sheeny black hair that's straight, and I can see like her white wings, and she's a beautiful angel. And as I'm looking at her hair over her wings, it makes me feel kind of good, almost as if my legs are kind of like levitating again. And so she's picking the book up from out of my hands and slowly placing the book on the piano that I was reading, so she wants my complete attention. So as she's doing this, I'm feeling kind of wondering, but also my legs are kind of shaky a little bit. And so as she's doing this, now she's giving me a kiss, and as she's doing this, I can feel it on my lips, and I tell her I love her, and she tells me Ahoba, which means I love you in Hebrew, and I'm giving her some pink, not carnations, but they're marigolds, so kind of like big petaled marigolds that are pink. And she takes the marigolds and she's putting them behind her back, kind of like her hands are behind her back, and I feel like my eyes like kind of wonder at all this, and my legs still feel kind of like they're stiffening up near my ankles and my toes and my feet. So now I see she's talking to me, and she said Ahava again, and I'm not going to try to I guess I could try to make out what she's saying. She's saying keep going, now do Arielle. So now we're going to bring Arielle into the picture, Angel Arielle, and Arielle's coming up from behind her, and Penelope just gave me a kiss, and I can feel it in my lips again, and I'm feeling kind of good down from my waist down, and Penelope is backing up a little bit, and Arielle's here, and Arielle just gave me a kiss on the lips. And so the book that I had been reading, I'm thinking about. But the kiss that Arielle gives me, I can feel on my lips, and it feels very soft and light and tingly, kind of like the good vibration. And so, yeah. And so I'm putting my arm on Arielle's shoulder, and I think about how the cup of my hand and all the way down to my elbow has been lifted up from where it was. And so she's leaning back, and she's getting into my lap, almost as if she's like some holding her in front of me, although my hand's just on her shoulder. And she gave me another kiss. So she's lying in my lap, and she's giving me a kiss. And so her feet, and I like the kiss a lot. I feel kind of tingly, and I can feel just a tiny bit of weight on my lap area where she is. And her feet, I can even hear like kind of rustling around, and she's picking the book up off the piano with her feet. The Dante book, Dante's Paradiso, with her feet, and she flips it, and as she's doing this, my feet kind of like snap a little bit with their toes. She's flipping the book up into the air, and then she catches it with her right hand, I believe. Yeah, her right hand. She's telling me, she's helping me see this as her catching it with her right hand. And now I feel kind of happy that she's so skillful, and I can feel my rest of my back to my feet kind of tense up and tighten, but in a good way. And now she's reading our book, Dante's Paradiso, and flipping it just kind of like I was flipping it, in a slow manner, page by page, smiling at her divine smile. And as she's flipping it, I'm feeling kind of like, I wonder what she's reading, like how angels read. And it makes me feel kind of good in the neck area here. And as she's smiling her divine smile, it makes me kind of like feel good and innocent in some sense, because she's there doing this and all. And so Penelope is also back into the picture a little bit to my left hand, and she put her hand onto Arielle's leg, and she's talking with Arielle right now. And as she put her hand on Arielle's leg, it makes me put my hand on her hand on Arielle's leg, and so my hand is touching her hand, and I feel like kind of a nice feel of her hand right there as she's talking with Arielle. And as she's talking with Arielle, as Penelope's talking, I'm watching her hair and her mouth and her face talk to Arielle. But Arielle's listening. By the way, when I'm seeing Penelope talk to Arielle, I'm feeling kind of like still, like I've been like fixated on her eyes and her mouth and her face, kind of shocked a little bit, but kind of like, solid stick of my eyes onto her face, her visage. And as she's talking with Arielle is listening, but she's still reading the book at the same time, so she's not looking. Now she's looking at Penelope, and that makes me feel kind of like wiggly in my feet area. And I'm moving my hand at this time because Arielle's like stretched her legs over to get my hand off her legs, and I put my hand in my lap above her where she's sitting, and she's stretching her legs around my torso to give me kind of a leg hug. So that's how I can feel like that stretch. It feels really good when she gives me a hug. Can't remember the last time she gave me a leg hug, but every time an angel gives me a hug, I can definitely feel it. It's like when you stretch in the morning, for me, that's my angels giving me hugs. So she's got the book, and now she's giving the book to Penelope, and Penelope is taking the book and putting the book behind her on the piano stool, or actually on over beyond where I can see behind her, on some kind of like object, on a rock or something. And so Penelope gives Arielle a kiss, and when Penelope put the book on a rock, my toes started clicking or snapping a little bit, and the upper half of my body feels my toes snap, and my body's torso feels very flexible and wiggly and loose. And she's giving Arielle a kiss, so they kiss, and I see them kiss, and it makes me feel good in my neck and my face. And so she's putting her arm around Arielle's shoulder, and then giving her Arielle, as she puts her arm around, as Penelope puts her arm around Arielle's shoulder, I feel kind of tingly in my ears, and now Penelope is giving Arielle a hug, and Arielle's giving Penelope a hug, and it's a tight hug. So they enjoy. I can tell they enjoy that, and that makes me feel kind of peaceful and happy with that. They love each other too, as well as they love me. And my toes are kind of snapping too, and my feet are tensing up and kind of moving around as if they're being stretched. And so I'm going to stop it for there. That's what I've been kind of having in mind about an eidetic image of using like two angels and the two words that I came up with, so that I could start like a kind of imaging without knowing what the imaging would be. In other sessions or other practices I've done this with, I was riding a bicycle, but it was guided by a certified eidetic imagist, my friend, where my parents came into the picture after I was riding my bicycle, but this time I wanted to try it with my angels, and so in a new like image. So now I'm taking the book that one of the other angels threw to me, and so I'm grabbing it in my hand, and it makes me, I can feel it like hit my hand, and I have it in my hand again, and it's Dante's Paradiso again. And so I'm going to stop. It makes me feel good. I'm smiling, and I'm going to stop the video so I can read more of the book. Thanks for watching.